Hello and welcome to this updated video guide for completing the Sunken Temple of Qarn normal in Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood. My name is TSDS and in this video you'll learn everything you need to know to go spelunking. On average this dungeon will take a little over 20 minutes to complete, so let's crack on. At the start, head up the stairs, and once the trash is dead, take the stairs down on the right. The warden statue we're skipping here doesn't do anything. Continue on to the next area, where you'll find the Helm of Might atop a plinth. Picking this up is optional, but it's free, so grab it. After this room, you'll come across your first temple bee. Whenever someone thinks about this dungeon, their first thought is, "Not the bees! Ah! Open my eyes! Eyes! Ah! Ah!" So allow me to explain why. When engaged and alive for long enough, they start to cast an attack called Final Sting. This will hit the target for about 75% of their maximum health. As it's 75%-ish of their max health instead of current, this can very easily one-shot your tank, so the bee should always be focused down first. Fortunately, Final Sting can be interrupted, and as it takes so long before they start casting it, you may never see it. But just remember, bees first, then everything else. Keep making your way through the temple and you'll find the Gem of Affluence. This is also optional to grab, but free is free, so pick it up as well. After this, you'll find the first boss line just ahead. The first boss, Taratata, is the most challenging in this dungeon. Tank should face him away from the group, avoiding his frontal attacks, and tank him on the darker, untiled area of the room. Over the course of the fight, bees will spawn there in sets of 2, so if you're tanking here you can easily pick them up. The bees need to be killed instantly, otherwise they're both Final Sting the tank. Fortunately, they have far less health than the regular ones in the dungeon. A little later in the fight, the boss will growl, hitting the entire room with an AoE. This move deals no damage, but inflicts doom upon everyone in the group. This debuff lasts for 10 seconds, and when it runs out, you'll die. The way you get around this is by standing upon whichever of the 3 large tiles in the room is glowing. It's very important not to die to this, so make sure the debuff drops before you move off the glowing tile. As we can't be having things too easy, the tile that is glowing will randomly change. This is something you'll just have to pay attention to, so quickly run to the new glowing tile if you've still got the debuff. Dealing with the bees, doom and moderate boss damage can be quite a challenge, but this fight only gets easier the longer the game's been out. When the boss is dead, head on down through to the left and watch out for a couple more patrolling bees. It's here you'll find a large stone head monster with a name I'm not going to try. When engaged, the door in front of you will close and you'll see a similar glowing tile on the floor, just like in the Taratata fight. The tank needs to pull the stone head so that it's standing on the tile before you kill it. Doing so will cause the door to open up again. Killing it when it's not on the tile will just cause it to revive after a short time. Once you go through the door, 2 more of these stone heads will aggro whoever went through first, and you'll find another 2 glowing tiles, one on the left and one on the right. Just pull the heads on top of them, kill the first one, move to the other glowing tile and kill the second. Doing this will open up 2 more dead-end rooms that must be cleared out. Up on plinths inside each, you'll find the Flame of Magic and the Fruit of Knowledge, so pick these up as well. Once you've got both, continue forwards through the dungeon and you'll eventually reach the second boss line. The second boss, Temple Guardian, has 2 parts that you can target, and you first need to attack the Golem Soulstone. This is what you aggro the boss with, so tank should make sure they have the right target. Turn him away from the group and dodge his AoEs. When the Soulstone dies, the boss shuts down and the Temple Guardian part will become vulnerable. Deal as much damage to this as you can, so save cooldowns for this part rather than the Soulstone. After a short time, the Soulstone revives and you repeat this process. Fully destroying the Temple Guardian part will kill the boss. What makes this boss interesting is that every time the Soulstone revives, he will randomly target non-tanks with some attacks. Some can be simply avoided, but others not so much, and can hit very hard. If you're unlucky, he might combo the same person a couple of times, taking them out. While this does happen quite rarely, healers should be ready for some decent damage on this part. People will sometimes mark these attacks up to a bad tank not holding aggro, but it's a boss mechanic, so don't sweat it, tanks. When it's dead, continue on and you'll eventually reach another stone head and glowing tile combo next to some stairs. You'll also see on either side a stone pedestal against the wall. If you go up to the pedestals and take a closer look, you'll find that they each have an engraving on them representing the 4 items you've plundered previously. Interacting with them and placing the correct item will open up a hidden room with a chest at the end. Nowadays though, these don't seem to have anything worthwhile in them, so get skipped most of the time. Head up the stairs and deal with the next Stonehead glow tile combo. I'll point out that the temple crocs have both frontal and rear cone attacks, so it's best to tank them sideways from your group. With the next door open, push through the remaining trash and you'll find the Scales of Judgment. You've probably been wondering why that fireball and strawberry have been on the video all this time, but it's all been a ruse to help you remember this part. On the scales, you must place the Flame of Magic on the left and the Fruit of Knowledge on the right. Once in place, interact with the scales to open a secret treasure room to the left and the final boss room directly ahead. If you get the scales wrong, the treasure room won't open up and 3 adds will spawn. The boss room will however open either way, so fire left, fruit right. The final boss in this dungeon is the Adjudicator. Tank should face him away from the group and you should notice 3 more of those glowing tiles. Shortly into the fight, a small stone head will spawn and continue to respawn unless slain whilst on top of a glowing tile. Stationary mithril verges will also spawn and cast very long AoE attacks at random players, so DPS should just swap to kill these. Later in the fight, some mithril verges will spawn with a large black and white square around them. Whoever is planning on killing this verge should move inside the square before attacking, as an invisible wall will shortly form around the square, blocking attacks from the outside. These more unique verges will be casting Verge Pulse, which would AoE the group for moderate damage. As the boss will also be AoEing the group with Creeping Darkness, these verges have a higher kill priority. Towards the end, 4 normal verges will spawn around the room. If your healer is having a hard time of things, you can kill these to make things less chaotic, otherwise just focus the boss. Make use of your limit break and here go down. And that's the Sunken Temple of Qarn normal. If you've enjoyed the guide, then let me know, and if there are any other guides or perspectives you'd like to see, then check out my channel or feel free to ask me to create one. Thank you for watching, and good luck. Hey, what are you still doing here? You're after a secret tip, aren't you? Alright, I've got a sneaky one for you. If you're really wanting a bit of gear, slyly wait after the boss for your whole party to leave. When you're alone, you can run back to the treasure room that was likely ignored and have everything to yourself. You can also open a couple of the stone plinth doors earlier, but whichever of the 2 items you used on the scales would have been consumed. Though to be honest, only the treasure room seems worth it. Anyway, that good enough for you? Mum's the word, eh?